What's going on, fellow A-Plus? It's your boy Adam Perez. We're back once again, baby, with a brand new video review for you guys today as we're set to tackle Agatha All Along, a series brought to us by former showrunner of WandaVision, Jac Schaeffer, starring none other than Kathryn, Hahn in here, and some other incredible names that we'll certainly see as the season progresses. The new season just went ahead and dropped. They have two brand new episodes on Disney Plus for you guys. So if you want to check out the first two episodes, certainly have at it. And then next week will be episode number 3. This has come in a very busy time during the week. We also wind up getting ourselves not only a brand new episode of The Rings of Power, but we also got the premiere of The Penguin as well. So Agatha certainly has a lot of competition here this week, but faring relatively well, I think, amongst audiences and critics so far. So check this out. If you haven't had the opportunity to check out Agatha All Along, let me know. We will be diving into episode 1 here. But if you have seen the series so far, let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below to go ahead and have some conversations week to week as we talk about this particular series. Now, let me be quite frank with you guys, man. When they announced Agatha All Along, I didn't really care for it. I don't necessarily know if I cared necessarily a ton for Agatha Harkness in WandaVision, despite the fact that I did appreciate sort of her origin story and the finale episode and things like that leading up to the end of WandaVision. But the idea of her having her own series, it wasn't necessarily for me. I didn't really care for it, but I do think the marketing of the series has been pretty great, though. I have been a really big fan of all the trailers, all the posters, and all the details that have kind of come out of it. And it's making me kind of intrigued and kind of looking forward to at least checking out this season and seeing what it's like. And so here I find myself kind of looking forward to diving into this show. And I got to say, I think a pretty good start for episode 1 here, to be quite frank with you. I think for me, a couple things of what I really enjoyed out of here is one, I think this continues to show to me at least the showrunner and Jac Schaeffer, her range, honestly. The fact that she kind of takes what works so well in WandaVision in the sense of each episode sort of being a different theme and a different genre and a tone, instead of just a modern day sort of sitcom, if you will. Her ability to go to different time periods, and do television from the 60s or the 80s or the 90s, and fit a storyline in there, I think worked really well for something like WandaVision. So for us to dive into the very first episode here in the sense of seeing not necessarily like Agatha all along, as we know Agatha Harkness from WandaVision, right? It doesn't feel quite like WandaVision. It feels like a true detective story, if you will, right? Like just really giving us a completely different genre to throw Catherine Hahn in as Agnes in this in the beginning portion of this episode, and sort of let this mystery of her being like a detective and sort of trying to solve the case, and in turn sort of solving her own mystery as to who she is and why she feels things are off, or why she feels a little bit sort of misplaced in her skin. And so for Agatha to discover that in the form of like a detective cop sort of show that you would see on like HBO or Max or something like that, I think just really goes to show you Jacqueline Schaefer as a showrunner could truly do anything that you ask of her. I really wasn't a big fan of I don't think a movie like Black Widow is as bad a movie as some people say, even though I got no arguments with people who are bored out of their mind with it. Trust me, it's like a movie I've watched maybe one and a half times. I've never really gone back to it. So the fact that Marvel continues to take chances on Jacqueline Schaefer, who was a writer for Black Widow, she knocked WandaVision out of the park, and now she's kind of doing this with Agatha for the first episode. I think she's definitely showing her range and that she's really capable of doing anything. And also that she really has sort of a grasp on the world that she's in. She understands these characters. She seems like she's having a really good time in the world of witches. And it certainly works for her in here. And so I think the first thing that immediately stood out to me was Jacqueline Schaefer's range as sort of a showrunner, and her ability to take what worked from WandaVision and give it to us here in that first episode of this unraveling detective story that will then lead into the Agatha Harkness that we kind of currently all know. And so for me, a takeaway from this episode was Jacqueline Schaeffer is incredible in that sense. Um, Also, Kathryn Hahn in here. Great performance. I do think some of the dialogue and some of the performances were maybe a little bit over the top, right? But again, while it comes across to us as a true detective sort of style show to begin with, right? Like this isn't the natural world that Agatha's in. So there is sort of like some fun elements and some things that you can kind of stretch and exaggerate a little bit, right? So, how she approaches people, her, interrogation methods sort of thing, calling people out in the middle of a library. Where were you at between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., sort of thing. I really enjoyed that, but I think it also shows Kathryn Hahn's range that she's not just a comedian, if that's what sort of Kathryn Hahn for, that she really can get serious and portray other roles and find influences to, change who she is as an actor. And I think she did remarkably well in here. And I'm a really big fan of Aubrey Plaza too. So if anything, I really appreciated sort of their chemistry on screen together. I There's so much stuff out there for Aubrey Plaza that I have not necessarily watched, and as a big Aubrey Plaza fan that appreciates when I do catch things that she's in, seeing her in this particular role to kind of help guide Agatha into understanding who she is, but playing the part of like a federal agent, and to be able to see Aubrey Plaza in that role of a federal agent, I'm thinking to myself, man, I need to see her in more dramas, honestly. Like I really need to see her in more serious content besides just some of the comedy aspects. And so I'm glad that two actors that I feel are mostly known for their comedy bits and their comedy chops get to act in a different tone to start off episode 1 here, and then again kind of getting back to the Agatha Harkness kind of vibes by the end of this episode. I'm interested to find out who this teen character is that she's interrogating and is also kind of now in her house. I know there've been some rumors circulating that he could possibly be one of Wanda's children's one of Wanda's children, by the name of Wiccan. I think that's Billy, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not, but definitely some mystery surrounding who not only the teen young man is, but also who Aubrey Plaza's character is. She also name drops a group in Marvel Comics called the Salem 7. I'm not too familiar with them, but I did do a quick Google search. I was like, the fact that she name dropped Salem 7, like I wonder if that's even in Marvel Comics or if that's in an original take that they're kind of creating. But no, that's strictly from Marvel comic books. So the fact that Aubrey Plaza gives Agatha this warning that, hey, they'll be here by sundown for you, sort of mentality, does make me wonder how they're going to bring some of those characters to life just visually, and how they're certainly going to portray them kind of going forward. But I heard some reviews, some people saying that this episode started out kind of slow. I didn't see it that way. I kind of appreciated sort of the true detective vibes and the idea of like finding clues, having Agatha piece things together, right? Like when she starts writing out Darkhold, right? Like I love the idea that it snaps something in her and she makes a connection. Not only the WandaVision connections, but also Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is a film that I literally watched like a day or two ago because I wanted to prepare for Agatha. And while I don't think you need to rewatch it, I do think it's important that if you at least have seen it, it's a good head start for you to understand the idea of like when she goes into the library and she sees where the book was that was originally checked out. The fact that not only is that portion burned, but you got somebody else that notifies us like, yeah, actually all copies have been burned. I'm like, oh man, maybe that's the Darkhold that she's referring to, since Doctor Strange mentions in Multiverse of Madness. Like, not only did she destroy the dark hole, but she destroyed it in every sort of multiversal world that's out there as well. So there's no longer any dark hole book. And so I really love just the connective tissues and what allowed Agatha to gain her consciousness back, and understanding that not only does she not have her powers, but that Scarlet Witch is dead, and now she's got an enemy that is certainly out for her, that she's got her acquire her abilities back for, in order to kind of protect herself at the end of the day. And so, you know, I did enjoy that aspect of the show. If there is anything I wasn't necessarily a big fan of, I'm not a big fan of villains making stupid decisions. And I say that in the sense of, like, bro, if you want to kill somebody, kill them. You know, the fact that Aubrey Plaza's character is now allowing Agatha to gain her powers because she doesn't want to fight somebody that's defenseless. The fact that Agatha literally talked her into, like, why do you want to kill me when I don't have any powers, right? Like, don't you want to know that you killed me at, like, the height of my ability? So let me get my powers back. Then if you have any quarrels with me, we'll go ahead and take care of them. And the fact that she's like, okay, that sounds cool. It's just a stupid idea to me. Like, and it's not just for Agatha All Along. Like, I've seen that a ton of times in other movies and television shows, and I just think it's stupid because it just doesn't make any logical sense. Like, no, if you want to kill somebody, bro, that bad, just kill them. And she decided not to do that. So that's on her if Aubrey Plaza isn't successful by the end of this. I am also curious. Oh, I will say also, I didn't necessarily care for the fight sequence towards the end of this. If they were trying to act tough, or, you know, I don't know. It just didn't come across as believable enough to me, to be quite frank with you. So I didn't really care. Look, I'm not looking for like John Wick stuff, if you will, right? But like when Aubrey Plaza's got her hand on her neck, I don't even feel like Aubrey's really trying. You know what I mean? Like it just feels more performative than actually kind of in the moment. You know what I mean? And so, and some of the dialogue attached to that, I didn't necessarily care for. So those are really my only two gripes out of it. Outside of that, though, I think the story is really solid. I enjoy the performances in here. I had some chuckles, especially even in the serious moments, just like how Agatha, when she was a detective, as Agnes was like just treating her, you know, the chief of police sort of thing. I think the humor in here is really good too, especially when she comes to it and she runs across the street to her neighbor Herb, and she's putting all the pieces together. She's like, oh, you know, the jeweler and the librarian and the police chief sort of thing. The fact that he mentions, like, yeah, you know, you were acting really strange and people kept trying to come over and give you groceries and help you out, and, you know, you were in this really weird like Law and Order mode or something like that. Just, I can just imagine Agatha opening the door and treating these normal people like they're being interrogated sort of mentality. Like, just the visual of that alone certainly made me laugh. And so yeah, I had a really good time with some of the comedy in here as well. If anything, you know, I think the big mystery right now for me is who is Aubrey Plaza. I don't know if there's like anytime there's a witch series, whether that be WandaVision or Agatha, I'm sure there's plenty of Mephisto theories out there, right? Like, we had like a Mephisto theory phase 4 for a really long time with anything it felt like that dropped from Disney Plus. And so, you know, I while I understand that there are probably some Easter eggs here sort of thing, you know, will Mephisto pop up in here? Who knows? Is Mephisto being played by Aubrey Plaza? I'm not sure. She does make a mention of one thing really jumped out at me. You know, when Agatha mentioned, you know, oh, that's right, you don't have a heart. Aubrey Plaza's character reminds her, I do have a heart, and it's black, or and it's a black heart, and it's for you, or something like that. So the black heart reference definitely jumped out at me, considering the fact that we have seen Aubrey Plaza in practically all black. Makes me wonder if she is Blackheart. But if I remember from the Marvel comic books, I believe Blackheart is more of a demon than she is certainly a witch. So if I had to put my money on anything, there's a part of me that thinks that Aubrey Plaza might be somebody like a Morgan Le Fay. You know, somebody that has used the dark hold in the past, uses dark magic sort of thing, has been around for centuries. I'm kind of on the Morgan Le Fay theory. I don't know if that's a theory that's going around right now, if that's a popular one or not, but I'm kind of on the Morgan Le Fay sort of bandwagon right now until proven otherwise. So we'll see though. But I think this is a really good, strong, creative start that gives us vibes of what WandaVision did successfully, but allowing people like Aubrey Plaza and Kathryn Hahn to, you know, showcase more of their range along with Jac Schaeffer as a showrunner, and then eventually give us what we know of, and that is in fact a witches series that's starred by Kathryn Hahn with some comedy in it. And so, good solid start for episode 1. I'm looking forward to checking out episode 2 for you guys, and we definitely will be doing reviews for you. So if anything, I'm probably gonna do a review for the Rings of Power here later on today, and then maybe later on this weekend we'll drop an episode 2 review for you guys for Agatha All Along. But let me know what you guys thought. Did you appreciate the episode like I did? Do you have your gripes with it? What are your pros and cons? Certainly let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below. But until then, do me a big favor, y'all. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.